I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Zeb Welborn. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure to connect with you, Zeb. Tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I live in Chino Hills, California, so in Southern California.
All right. And which of your talents do you believe is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Well, you reached out and said that you were interviewing podcasters, so I guess it's my podcasting experiences, which is why you reached out.
Yeah, most definitely. Tell us about your podcast, please.
Well, it's a Defining Success podcast, and to be honest with you, it was up. I did 120 episodes or something like that, but I haven't done one in a couple of years, I want to say.
Wow, 120 and stopped. I think that's enough. I could see you beating the person who did one and stopped. Wow, 120. So the podcast was about what exactly?
It was about success. So I wanted to interview people who I thought were successful. So these are people who love what they did, who are good at it, and who are helping other people. And so I wanted to highlight those people on my podcast.
All right. Did it bring value to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it brought a lot of value in a lot of different ways. You know, I built my network. I got some great advice and from some great entrepreneurs. And then also just in terms of podcast, spreading my name and getting out there. It was a really good experience, and I really enjoyed it.
So what do you do now?
I do internet marketing. So the podcast was kind of a way to help me get a name for myself and introduce myself to other internet marketers and people in business. And so that's what I'm doing now, and the podcast helped me along that journey pretty substantially, so I'm very grateful for the time that I had a podcast, and I hope to do one again in the future.
Yeah, that was definitely going to be my next question. What would you do it on this time, the second time around?
I really liked the Defining Success podcast and the longevity that it had. I kind of felt that it had run its course. I've thrown around a lot of ideas about doing a podcast in the future. I do have a niche in the golf industry, so I've thought about doing it there. I also love the learning aspect of running a podcast, so it might shift into doing something where I'm interviewing other entrepreneurs about the next stage of entrepreneurship. At the beginning, I was just interviewing people who I thought were successful. In the next stage, it might be something else that's a little bit more in-depth and detailed, but I haven't quite gotten that far yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool. Is it and this is not what it's going to be, but surrounding the idea of success to significance?
No, I don't think I'm going to be doing it on success in and of itself. To be honest with you, I haven't really gotten that far. I wasn't sold on. I wasn't extremely passionate about just. I guess when I started out as a business owner, I didn't really know anything about business, and so I wanted to interview people who I knew were successful just to see what kind of traits and skills and abilities they had. And now that I kind of understand that, now it's on the next path of journey, and I don't know if I would be looking at success or looking at something else. I really don't know. I haven't thought about it, but I know I do want to do one again in the future.
Yeah, it's really challenging to dip into the beauty of what podcasting is and walk away, right? Especially after 120 episodes inside the hole, right? Pun intended. So what do you do around golf?
I do social media marketing or internet marketing. So golf is it's kind of an industry that's been on the decline, but I think that golf has a distinct advantage because if you go to a golf course, there's tons of beautiful scenery, beautiful photography, that kind of thing, and that's something that social really tells a great story of. And so I help golf courses try to get their heads wrapped around social media, how to use it effectively for their golf course, and how to get golfers to come and play their course so that they make more money and run a good, solid business.
Where's the best place for someone to connect with you that may be interested in at least seeing what your services are about?
Yeah, so on the golf course side, there's 19th Hole Media. That's focused on golf. I do internet marketing for other businesses as well. So I mentioned I have a niche in the golf industry, but I also do social media and digital marketing for any type of business. And you would want to go to wellbornmedia.com in order to check that out.
Wonderful. Tell me, Zeb, one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
One thing that I've done consistently, I'm very active in my local community. So I was a chairman of the board for our Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. I am currently the president of our Chino Rotary Club. So getting involved in my community, trying to give back, trying to do hands-on activities to help those who are less fortunate is something that I'm passionate about. I've been doing pretty consistently for the last 3 years now.
How does that make you feel?
That's good. Like, I mean, that's like, I don't know. I look at life in a way, like the reason why I did the Finding Success podcast was people who love what they did, who are good at it, and who are helping other people. If you notice in there, one of the things that it didn't say was how much money you made. The people that I kind of look up to are people who work hard. They're good at it. They make money from it, but they're also giving back, and they're also helping out others and helping people that are less fortunate. So I really want to try to embody that myself. So that's why I do it, and I enjoy it immensely.
Okay. Suggest to someone out there that's listening why they should even consider doing what you've done by definitely not just being the person that is identifying the value of giving, but who is actually giving back as well to the community.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think of like what is important in life, and I see that there's a lot of people that are extremely successful in a financial context that are unhappy, and then there are people who I see that are giving back and they're helping others. They may not be the richest people in the world, but they're doing well for themselves, but they're also providing a service. You know, I think when I started the podcast, I started because my ultimate guest was my dad, and he appeared on I'm not sure exactly what episode. I think he was the 100th guest.
Wow.
But I interviewed my dad because I always thought that he was somebody who knew what life was all about. You know, he was a good family man. He raised us well. He was very good at what he did. He loved it, and he used his skill set to help other people. And so I kind of always have wanted to emulate my dad, and I interviewed him as a 100th guest on my podcast, and it was a great experience for me, and that's why I did the podcast, and that's why I've kind of led the life that I've led, is because I want to do good in the world and make the world a better place and be happy along the way.
Pretty amazing stuff. Well, amazing audience, we are live with Zeb Welborn. I definitely need to go check out that 100th episode now. That sounds intriguing, right? Zeb, let's switch gears for a moment now, and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful warm blue Caribbean water. Zeb, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh man, I remember. So I have a son right now. He just turned 2. It's his 2nd birthday. So I'm kind of thinking of like when I was his age. My earliest memory was kind of sneaking to watch late night TV. My parents would watch TV in the living room. They'd watch Cheers or MASH, I think, were the shows. And I would sneak out of my living room to try and watch because it was on at 9 o'clock. So I'd sneak out of my bedroom, try to watch them, and like sneak around the corner to watch those shows. That's probably my earliest memory. If you think about it.
Wow. So how old do you think you were? Were you like 2 as well?
Yeah, it was probably 2, 3, somewhere around there. Not quite sure, to be honest.
Oh, why do you think this memory is so clear?
That's a good question. I don't know. I was just I was just sneaking around. Probably it was because it was something I wasn't supposed to be doing, and then I was doing it anyway. So that's something to think about it. I don't know.
That's intriguing. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Yeah, please do.
I love the idea that from that age, you were so intrigued to learn from those that were doing the thing they're doing, right? So, like with Cheers, right? It's like this is what the adults do at 9 p.m., right? And to see that you're investigative, if you would. And now to see that you did the podcast as well in the business realm so that you could get the information that's necessary as well, being that investigative type of guy. It's pretty intriguing to see those both connect.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, no, that's good. I like that insight. That's awesome.
Yeah. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Oh gosh. Well, I'll tell you, the first CD that I bought, it was probably a little bit after 12 years old. It was Hootie and the Blowfish, which was a popular song at the time. So that was probably right around that same time. When I was a kid, I only listened to oldies, but then for some reason, I kind of started listening to contemporary music, and Hootie and the Blowfish was a cool new thing at the time, and that was the first CD I bought, was Hootie and the Blowfish.
Do you remember how much you paid for that CD?
Oh gosh, no, I have no idea.
And that was probably like what, like a one track? Was it a CD back then, or was it? Yeah, it was. So I'm pretty sure it was a CD. It might have been a cassette tape. No, it was definitely a CD. Okay. Yeah, it was a CD. All right, cool. Hey, well, Zeb, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Zeb, are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Zeb, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
I do. I have a 2-year-old son.
Do you believe in God?
I would consider myself agnostic, so I don't believe, but I don't not believe either.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No way.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yeah, probably more than 3 hours a week. Yep.
What about screen time? The phone and or the computer, is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Honestly, it varies. So I'm on the computer a bit because that's what I do for work in digital marketing. So I am on there pretty extensively, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's 8 hours a day. It's because I'm out meeting people and doing things. So I don't know exactly how much time I spend on the computer. I would guess 6.
All right, cool. Well, Zeb, after 1,001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I came up with this workbook, the name of it being called Yours. It stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. And the idea is you answer questions that through self-reflection, hopefully you're able to connect with your own unique real statement, which is equivalent to your mission. If you, Zeb, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Zeb Welborn, what would you say that is?
So in my podcast, one of the people that I interviewed, his name is Chris Brogan. So he's a big internet marketer as well. And when I interviewed him, something he said has stuck with me, and it's something that I repeat to people all the time. And what he said was, when I think of ways to make money, I fail. And when I think of ways to be of service to others, I make money. And so I've kind of tried to always be of service to people because I know that it's going to benefit me in the long run.
Love it. I would say well born, if you would. Well born.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Zeb, this has been a great pleasure. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I just want to thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the time. I appreciate the questions, and thanks for the insights.
You're welcome. Zeb Welborn, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks, Angel.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.